All right, everyone, the crash is not over. Get ready for a big weekend. You guys want to stick around for this one. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into Tech Path. A lot happening in the crypto markets right now. If you are ready to get into Coinbase, because this is the time, if you are looking at an entry, now is the time we're starting to see some options on a lot of different tokens, and you can do it over on Coinbase. So check it out and see what you guys think. Let's go over to a lot of the headline news today. And of course, some of this is really driven off of crypto and macro elements that are starting to unite, and this is one of them. January PCE inflation. This is the preferred inflation measurement of the Fed. This falls to 2.5 with the expectations that they had of 2.5, but it's the first decline in PCE inflation that we've seen since 2024, September 2024. So that is good news in general. And I think when you look at that, maybe we've started to see a little bit of the reprieve in the markets, both on the S&P, but also on crypto. But if you look at where the market is itself, right now, 5.7 billion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to go on options expiration today. So get ready, guys. We could see a very volatile weekend. I know everybody was probably watching as it dipped right below 80,000 last night. And many people probably saw even $128 Solana down there. So there's a lot happening for sure. Investors are pulling out of crypto at a record pace. Right now, crypto funds posted a 2.6 billion outflow in the week ending Wednesday. This is the largest that we've ever seen maybe in the history of crypto. So a lot happening. Again, a lot of pressure on the market, not only on crypto and risk assets, but on just almost everything, real estate, stocks, bonds. You've seen it. Everybody's worried about it. And of course, if you look at the current market cap, holding at about 2.79 trillion, down 0.34, 24-hour volume, still going up a little bit. Dominance on Bitcoin, though, at holding at 60% and ETH at 9.6% on the move right now. Other things that are happening, of course, if you look at some of the performance of Bitcoin over the last couple of cycles, you can go back to 2017, and you can see those dips right there. This is coming in from Matthew Siegel over at VanEck. And I mean, there's a lot of deep dips in there in 2017, but look at these crazy ones right here. Even to a certain extent, throw the 55 out, but I would look at a 26 and a 31 as consistent. That's where we are right now. So are we at the max pain, or is there still some left in the market? I'd love to get you guys' comments. If you're not subscribed, make sure and subscribe right now, because it is a very important time to be paying attention to what's going on. Patience is going to play out here in a very big way for many investors. And I think the ones that hodl through are going to be the ones that kind of look at the other side of this differently. Now, some things you do have to look at is Bitcoin's price after halvings. And if you look at this, most of the time we have seen cycles do this up and to the right. This is the first time that we have seen a deviation from Bitcoin. And this is something that is a bit concerning to me, because it does either mean that the cycle is broken, or we have a completely different market dynamic building right now. Other things that are playing into this, if you look at this is Ansem talking about this. When bearish news cannot force the price lower, it's bullish. When bullish news cannot force the price higher, it's bearish. And that really is where we are right now. We are in a time where we're getting so much good news. The SEC is gone. Gensler is out. Trump is in. Cases are dropping left and right. Innovation is happening across crypto like crazy. But at the same time, we're seeing the market go down. All of this has to go with one simple thing, and that is the macro environment is putting a lot of pressure on risk assets. Bitcoin is set for its second worst February on record. Coinbase now cites this as lack of positive catalyst. Mostly what they're talking about is the macro positive catalyst. The only time the digital asset performed worse was in 2014 when it lost 30 amid the fallout of Mt. Gox. That's a huge one. And then the downturn has also been driven by the absence of near-term catalysts. And I think a lot of this still plays into Trump, tariffs, what we're dealing with on getting Zelensky out of the war, all these kind of things that do put a lot of pressure on the global economic condition. I want to go to this clip real quick because this will outline it a little bit better. Take a look.
Well, I think there are two different things here, Andrew. For the first on the tariffs, the issue here is not just that the president is going to levy these tariffs on Mexico, China, Canada. It's that there's, in sort of the analogy of the Fed, there's no forward guidance. No one knows what the end point is. What does he want to accomplish? How high do they go? Why do they go that high? How do you make a plan in this environment? And that's terribly unsettling the markets, very bad for the business community as well. On Doge, with the judge's decision last night that the firings were illegal because they came from OPM and not from the agencies themselves, we're into a second stage. The second stage is already underway. The Office of Management Budget sent a memo out to all the agencies and said, prepare for large-scale reductions in force, develop a plan and get those plans back to us. That's the way you should do this from the get-go. If you want to reduce the size of the footprint, you make a plan and you make a strategic decision about who stays and who goes. And
they don't know where this is all going. They don't know how far these tariffs are going. And let's be honest, tariffs are tax increases. They're tax increases on businesses and normal Americans. And people are starting to really believe, to your point, that this stuff's really going to affect the economy. You're seeing it in consumer index, confidence index. You're seeing it in the stock market, and you're seeing it in the polls. And it's really creating uncertainty. And what do CEOs hate more than anything? Uncertainty.
I would be totally in agreement with that, is that uncertainty is the one that breeds the most market panic that we've ever seen. And it also breeds into what you have a lack thereof right now, which is the forward outlook right now that's not coming out of the White House. So this is another interesting take right here on sentiment, market sentiment, why people are exiting certain stocks. This is one that is related to Tesla. Take a look.
That when the JP Morgan analysts said that the stock was divorced from the fundamentals, we started watching it because of the $4 trillion of assets that are in retirement systems. Tens of billions are Tesla stocks. And frankly, what we're concerned about is that because there's so much pressure by the Trump administration to kind of fall in line.
And so the only reason I raise this is because I think that some people are going to look at this letter and say that it's politically motivated, given that the union is aligned with the Democrats and obviously Elon Musk is on the other side. It's what is so different about the divorce of reality from the fundamentals today than it may have been 2 or 3 or 4 years ago.
I don't know. We watched it from the outside. Right. We have pension funds that have tens of billions of dollars invested in Tesla, and there's warning signs. So we wrote to these investment managers and said, tell us what's going on, because we're concerned.
All right, so I have to kind of agree with this, and I'm pull the political side of this out of it, because I think when it comes to money, people lose their politics really quickly. But I think when you look at a lot of these large investment funds that are starting to look at market sentiment in general, Tesla, of course, has been bleeding market sentiment for many reasons. I think it's not only just the competition coming from China, what's happening with Elon. Is he going to go back to work? Is he going to stay in Doge? All those kind of things that do play into the stock price of Tesla, but it also plays into the market condition overall. And that is something that we are seeing really show out. Even if you look at our own index, this is our MSI 2.0, which is our dashboard on sentiment. And Bitcoin has fallen off. We have not seen this much of a fall off. This is almost actually over a 10-point fall off on Bitcoin alone. If you look at just in general, the amount of loss that we've seen on Bitcoin and overall market, pretty significant, that has been happening. And that's even with Bitcoin holding at over $80,000 a token. So lots still going here. Just in, Michael Saylor's strategy on Bitcoin holdings have dropped $10 billion in the last month. He's definitely going to have to be a hodler for sure. World's richest families now, worth $75 billion, are looking at a selling spree. All of this is, again, looking at market volatility. Are we nearing a potential situation where the S&P starts to see some major exits? I will tell you this. I've got some insider financial advisors that are friends of mine and that I've talked about very specifically about this point, and that is, how are you playing out this market? Many of them have looked at exiting their tech positions and are looking at opportunities elsewhere. Now, some of them are saying, hey, we do like, on the crypto side, we like Ethereum. We're a little bit weak on almost everything else. And when we look at the S&P, we're completely out on tech stocks. So this may be that time where we start to see a little bit more movement down. The crypto task force, though, if you look at the positive, crypto task force out of the SEC is still moving. And they're doing roundtables this weekend. and around this next couple of weeks. So a lot of good things still brewing around the benefits of what crypto will do. Timing is going to be everything here, because timing of not only this, along with regulation, along with the macro components here, because we've got to get inflation under control and we've got to get this tariff situation lined out to where businesses and people can start to look at kind of an end game here. And I think that's going to be on Trump's White House to get that done. But more positive news here. I mean, normally in any other market, just this alone would send it for Bitcoin and ETH and all of these. I mean, you've got Robinhood's case gets dropped, Uniswap is out, Consensus gets dropped, Gemini gets dropped. These are all huge companies that have massive impact on what's going on in crypto. All those cases were dropped just in the last week. And where are we? We've seen these massive crashes in crypto. So either this is the best time to buy and the bottom is now here, or we are in a different cycle altogether. Looking at the chart, if you just look at Bitcoin right now, it is completely deviated away from where the trend is going. Now, yes, it could return and we could see that 115 range on Bitcoin, but of course trading right now at 84.6 after a market dip right there into 78.6 all the way down last night. Other projects, of course, that we're watching is Solana. Made a nice little recovery, I guess, if you want to call it that, after it had dipped down to $125. We also saw Avalanche take a little bit of a dip and still on a little bit of a decline at 22.18. SWI, of course, holding at 282 after kind of plateauing right here after that big peak that we saw SWI take over the last couple of weeks. So, few weeks. So definitely a market that is in flux right now. Either this is the best time ever to buy, or we are looking at something where we need to look at hibernation over the next few months and wait for regulatory and macro, hopefully some macro adjustments within the market that will start to affect this. If you guys are not in the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content. Join us in our Telegram group. That's the other part, which is very important right now if you're in crypto, is really to kind of stay connected to all your communities. Do that in our Telegram group. It's very easy to join. And of course, catch me out there on X, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.